r/AskReddit by Redmond Dtes. What happened on the worst Christmas of your life? 2008. I came down with swine flu and had to wear a surgical mask. My deadbeat dad went to jail. And on Christmas morning, I found my beloved pet parakeet dead on the bottom of his cage. My neighbors looked out their back window that day to see a sobbing 17-year-old in a pink bathrobe and SARS mask saying a funeral for a dead bird in the middle of a blizzard. Screw that year. My dad passed on Christmas Eve, and I was snowed in and couldn't get to my family until a couple days later. It wasn't a terrible Christmas, but it's affected every Christmas since with his memory. Joyful memories about how he loved Christmas and our time together. I miss him immensely at this time of year. I was 40, had recently been ejected from my home in an ambush divorce, broke, missing my kids every single waking moment. I needed money, so I was driving a taxi cab, which was paying my child support and barely keeping me from homelessness. I worked a 12-hour shift on Christmas Day, and if I had the constitution for suicide, I probably would have just called it a day. The oven died, and I woke up to my mom screaming at my dad about how my Christmas was ruined. A little backstory. I was in my last year of university. I was home for the holidays. The last several years had been brutal. My dad donated our life savings to the church, and we lost any money we had. He also racked up thousands of dollars in debt, and we were forced to declare bankruptcy. We also had an oven that had been there since we moved in over 20 years ago. I come down, and my mom is screaming and swearing at my dad. He's not even saying anything, and she finally storms off. I asked what the hell that was about, and he started laughing. I utterly lose it at this point, and actually throw something at him. A $5 radio he got me. He was a cheap ass to anyone who wasn't himself, and scream at him about how he thinks this is funny, that our lives are shit because of him. It comes to a head when The Golden Compass just came out, and Dad hated it of course, because of God being killed. I scream I hope God dies. My mom drags me out of the room at that point. It was a hell of a morning, that's for sure. Christmas 1965, when I was 13. I was asked to go bring our elderly neighbor over to our house. There was no answer at the door. I let myself in, and he looked dead on the kitchen floor. I went to check him, and his normally very friendly dog attacked me. Lost a neighbor, got my face stitched up, and my family adopted his dog, who never liked me. Parents sat us down, me, my brother and sister, to tell us that they were getting a divorce before we got to open presents. My two younger siblings were so young that they don't remember it. I was the lucky one to fully comprehend what that meant. So yeah, kinda sucked. Not really a fan of Christmas Day. Received a phone call at about 5 PM that my grandfather died Christmas morning. It was his birthday. Rest of my family had already gathered in our hometown 8 hours away, including the uncle that lived 5 minutes away from me. They forgot to call me when the family gathered knowing he was days from dying. They forgot to tell me where or when the funeral was. They forgot how to answer a phone when I tried to find out the details. I never got to say goodbye. He was the only family member that didn't forget I existed. He had Alzheimer's, and my mother never forgave me that he knew my name and who I was and forgot hers. I freaking hate Christmas. It's just another reminder that with him gone I don't exist, and I'm not worthy of being thought of. My 37-year-old aunt stroked out in my parents' living room. My mom's baby sister. I was 18, and my cousin, her daughter, was 10. He survived to make it to the hospital. Needless to say, Christmas didn't happen. That was 37 years ago, but etched in my brain. My poor aunt had been diabetic since age 12. My entire family woke up in the middle of the night with either food poisoning or stomach flu, and we were all violently ill for the whole day, and a few days after as well. Neighbor's house caught on fire. so we had to evacuate onto the icy cold streets with over a foot of snow in the middle of the night. Siding on our house melted, and there were char marks. Had to file insurance claims. Everything inside our house smelled burnt. 2013. My dad had a massive stroke 4 days prior, so it was spent watching him struggle to even speak, while my mother was down the hall in ICU fighting sepsis. My grandpa died on Christmas Eve 2001, when I was 5 years old. He wasn't even old, he was in his 50s. My mom took it very hard. My grandma at least lived a lot longer, but she sadly died this year, on Thanksgiving. I'm flying up to my parents' house next week for the funeral, but at least my mom seems to be taking it well. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. If you like videos like this one, why not like and subscribe for more? Have a nice evening.